If you have just a minute, I want to share with you what I think might be the most important video you watch this whole year. Not to sound cocky, not to sound arrogant, but if I could go back in time machine, this is what I wish they had taught me in school. And just listen and you'll know immediately what I'm talking about, and I bet you'll say the same thing. Why didn't they teach this in school? Basically the last 10, even more than 10 years of my life, I've been trying to research, study, and experiment on the reason why 99% of the world struggles financially and 1% of the world has most of the money. In fact, they say now the top 10 people in the world, the 10 wealthiest people in the world, have more money than the bottom 2 or 3 billion combined. It's one of the most unfair things in history. And you know what? If you read a lot, the rich are getting richer. Well, I went to public school, private school, a little bit even homeschool. I didn't go to college, I'm a college dropout, but nowhere did I see them teaching this stuff. So I went out and I found these mentors, and in the next few minutes I want to share with you, I want to pull back the curtain and just save you like 10 years. If you've ever struggled financially, or if right now you're under extreme financial pressure, listen to this. I was forced to learn this the hard way because I was born to a single mom. My dad was in prison when I was born. I was born in Long Beach, California. I spent my teenage years in a mobile home. And now if you've seen my videos, you've seen that I've been able to transform my life. Let me take you through the series of events that happened that allowed that to happen, because most people, let's face the bad news. The average person that's born broke stays broke. And statistics back that up. The average person who's born middle class stays with a middle class income. Your parents' income is the biggest predictor of your future income. If you want to break out of that tyranny, the tyranny of your birth, the tyranny of societal classes, the tyranny of not being financially independent, the tyranny of being broke, and every time it's the first of the month and rent is due, you're scrambling and freaked out. Let me share with you what I uncovered. And I've been sharing this with people, but never in this way before. I believe almost every person, especially if you're fortunate enough, I believe almost everybody can double their income. And quicker than you think. Again, not overnight, but it doesn't have to take 20 years. The average person in the United States gets a pay raise between 1% and 3% per year. That means every 20 years they double their income. Actually more like 22, 23. That's too long. That's too long. Steve Jobs used to say, I don't want to be the richest man in the graveyard. You don't want to take so long to make money that you're so old you can't use it. Now I live in Beverly Hills. It just doesn't make sense. You want to be young enough to enjoy it. So you have to learn to accelerate stuff. Got to learn to accelerate stuff. Took a little notes. Usually I don't have any notes when I record a video, but this is so important. Like I made a big promise at the beginning. I said this may be the most important video you see this year. First thing I want to say, number one, when I began to study, I had 5 millionaire mentors over a series of years. Okay, I dropped out of college, had no money, was sleeping on a couch, back to the mobile home again, no college degree, no future, didn't have a car, didn't even have a suit to interview for a job, no qualifications for a regular mainstream job. I had spent 7 years on a farm, so I only had farm qualifications. I'm at the end of my rope. And then I said, wait a second, I'm gonna start researching, because there are a few people, the 1 out of 100 people that pull themselves out of it. What do they do different? You gotta study people that they call outliers. Because I'm gonna look at the 1 in a million or the 1 in 100 that pulls it off. And the first thing that I learned, write this down if you're taking notes, I suggest, the first thing is that they catch trends. If you say an idea of yours and your next door neighbor likes it, it's too late. It's too late to make money with that. Once it's accepted by the masses, it's no longer a new trend. And the only people making money from it are the people who got in early. You got to learn to get in early. If you're cynical, if you're stubborn, if you're slow, if you're set in your ways, if you're non-adaptable, you're going to have a hard time doubling your income. You're going to have a hard time ever achieving real financial freedom. You're going to be a slave to the system. You're going to be a slave to the 9 to 5. Even if you try to start your own business, I'm fortunate enough now, I have about 20 different streams of income from multiple businesses that I own, that I've founded, or that I've purchased. Like, what did Steve Jobs do? Steve Jobs presented the idea of the personal computer to, I think it was Stanford, all these Ivy League professors who were so smart, they laughed at him. But you know what? Guess who laughed all the way to the bank? Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk. You see, you have to have thick skin that allows you to catch new trends, that allows you to see what most people don't see. So you need to be, I'll give you a practical bit of advice. You should be checking Google Trends every day. It's a free service by Google. You literally just Google the phrase, Google Trends. Go look what's trending around the world. Phil Knight, the founder of Nike, he was struggling financially. Then he started seeing trends in Japan, and he started buying shoes there. And he brought that trend in Japan into the United States. What's a bigger brand than Nike when it comes to shoes? Catch trends. Number 2, fix your bad mental habits. What they don't teach you in school is anything about habits. Yes, they make you memorize geography and what the capital of Montana is and the capital of Romania, but that doesn't translate into anything of practical value besides being good at geography maybe, which you could just Google nowadays. It's an outdated way of learning. What would help you is the proper mental habits. And one of those mental habits, what do the masses do when they see something new? They're always skeptical. I saw that. I put out a video where I started sharing stuff in 2015. It's been viewed about 300-400 million times, this set of videos I released. Most people were skeptical. Ties, what is this? Is this a big scam? But a handful of people got it. 1 out of 100. And I don't like to say this because all the advertising compliance, but there's a stack of people who have become millionaires from those techniques. Oh, it works, but most people don't believe it, and that's good for you. Because the second everybody does it, it's too hard to make money. Uber caught a trend early. Why didn't you and I catch the Netflix idea trend before? Like, your parents, you could have started Netflix. It's not a complicated business. You just deliver. At first, they just put DVDs in the mail and mailed them to people. Why did the founder of Netflix make so much money? He makes $1 billion a month with his company now. You think he's struggling financially? He didn't grow up rich. He didn't inherit money. But what he did is he caught a trend. He had vision and he had good mental habits, so that when the fear came in and the discouragement came in and the self-doubt, the cynicism, he knew how to shut it down quick. That's what I mean by mental habits. You should train for that. You got to climb up the rope. And what about the financial mental training? What about the habit training to have the millionaire mindset? Nothing. Welcome to the modern school system. That's why I made this video. Now, I can go on and on. I just gave you number 1, but it's not what you hear, it's what you do. Talk is cheap. Action is what matters. Number 3, when I began to study the outliers, the small group of people who rise above, whatever you are around will affect you. Okay? Somebody once said you will make the average income of the 5 people you spend the most time around. I kind of like that. I'm not sure exactly that it's 5 or 4 or 3, but let me put it to you this way. I got a better saying. I think better. You want to make $1 million? Hang out with people for a few years, at least 1 year, who, if they made $1 million, you want to make $1 million bucks, you got to hang out with people who are like $1 million bucks. That's chump change. That's nothing. I made 10 million last year, at least 10, 20, 30 times what your goal is. People that taught you about money, they never did it themselves. And no wonder you're lost. No wonder the game doesn't make sense. No wonder the rich get richer, because the rich teach their kids. They're born with a mentor. Most wealth, the reason wealth stays with the wealthy, there's multiple reasons. I'm not going to oversimplify it. Part of it is it takes money to make money to a certain extent, but not always. All the people on the top of the Forbes list didn't start out with money. So that's not a very accurate assessment. I would say that, wealthy people pass things on to their kids, and the kids go a little further, and that happened over and over. You can look at some of the wealthiest people in the world. Look at the Waltons. You got to be taught, and you got to be taught by people who did it. If you could spend 5 minutes a day with a millionaire, and this video is not about me. I don't, but I'd like to help as many people as I can. I bet you this: you give me 5 minutes with you, I bet you'd begin to see a change in under a month, possibly a week.
로페즈는 부자가 되고 싶다면 주변 상황을 바꿔야 한다고 강조합니다. 영상에서 설명한 것처럼 10억을 벌고 싶으면 10억을 번 사람과 어울리고 100억을 벌고 싶으면 100억을 번 사람과 어울리라고 말합니다. 100억을 버는 사람과 어떻게 친해지냐고요? 유튜브 영상을 활용하시면 됩니다. 요즘은 백만장자가 운영하는 유튜브 채널도 많습니다. 하지만 만약 언어가 번거롭다면 제 채널처럼 백만장자의 부자마인드 등을 스터디해서 영상을 제작하는 컨텐츠를 활용하시면 됩니다. 최고의 영상을 만들도록 노력하겠습니다. 저와 함께 억만장자 마인드를 배우고 인생을 바꿔봅시다. 감사합니다.